What's going on, peeps? It's Ashton Clips back with another video. I'm doing a video on Wolcen Lords of Mayhem. And I'm gonna lower the volume so I don't deafen you guys. There we go. Fixed it. But yeah, if you guys are wondering what Wolcen Lords of Mayhem is, it's basically going to be a rival to Path of Exciles and Diablo 4. So it's the same kind of dungeon crawler game for the most part. It does have a story. Unfortunately, since the game is in alpha at the moment, the story isn't complete. But in my opinion, the story is relatively decent. It's not too bad. It's engaging, as you do various different tasks to progress and things like that. So it's not a bad story at all. And then obviously, if you want to, you can also just roam around the open environment to just level your character or explore or whatever. Obviously, it's beneficial to explore in this game just like it is in Diablo, for sure. So, I don't think this game will be a contender to Diablo 3 just because it is an alpha. I honestly don't even think a whole lot of people know about it yet. It's a pretty promising game as far as dungeon crawlers go. So the graphics are very nice. There's just general glitches and whatnot you would encounter with a game in alpha. So let's see. Do I have? No, I don't have any quests because I already did as much of the story as you can do in alpha. I believe the game is I think $20 or $25. So as far as cost goes, it's not bad at all. There is a character creator which is pretty decent. It's not a bad character creator at all. It's much more in-depth than Diablo, and I'm not sure comparatively to Path of Exciles how it is, because I've never played Path of Exciles. But character creation's pretty good. You have your various different potions, just like in Diablo. Although I feel the potion system in this game is much more in-depth because you have different potions that do different things, like your rage potion and your burning vial and your stamina and your health potions and all that good stuff. Then you also have your talents, just like in Diablo and Path of Exiles. However, to get your talents, it actually isn't a progression-based system. It's more finding the tomes from monsters. The talents actually drop from monsters in the form of tomes, and that's how you acquire new skills, which I feel is pretty interesting. And then the other interesting thing with the talents, or I mean the skills rather, not the talents, is they have talents. They have different talent tiers that can actually affect how the skills and abilities function. You can make them more. You can modify them to where they do more damage, or you can go with talents that actually increase the effectiveness of the talent, like giving faster recharge, giving more charges of something, and things like that. And then whoops, that's not what I wanted. The most interesting part of this game is actually called the Gate of Fates, which is kind of a node system. It's kind of like I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it. It's like the talents you have for your abilities, but the Gate of Fates actually affects your character directly. So it's kind of like your character's talents, but it's in this pretty interesting sphere. Well, not sphere, but circle that has different tiers that can actually be rotated. Oh, I can't show you the rotation. I'll fix that. And you have a dodge, which is your space bar. Okay, let's see. So now I can actually show you the rotation. It isn't finished. All these will be populated probably, I'd say once the game hits beta, all these will be populated. But for right now, it's just the innermost section, the second section, and then just one piece of the third section. So, as you can see, I can actually rotate the pieces, which is very unique. It's a very interesting and unique take to character development as far as this talent node goes. I did decide to go with a thief. And I've actually been having quite a bit of fun with it. It's a pretty decent build, in my opinion, despite not all the talents or the abilities being ironed out yet, and obviously this not being finished yet either. So, the other thing with these rotatable sections is you can actually have multiple different builds with a single character. You just have to have different sets of gear, obviously. And then if the nodes connect with these beams of light, and if the beams of light can't connect to a certain node, then they'll be doled out like these are, for example. But if I rotate it back, then these get enabled again. So it's a very interesting system for sure. It's definitely a character development system that I have yet to see before, and it's been honestly pretty fun and interesting just messing around with it, seeing what the different talents do and things like that. The nice thing too with the talents is it obviously gives you increases to your base stats, and then along with that, along with just the increases to your base stats, it can actually give you unique abilities depending on what kind of character you're wanting to play. So, this is also the inventory for those of you guys that are curious. You have your gold, which is pretty standard currency in basically any game. And then you add all your different gear slots. There actually is quite a few gear slots. And then You also have your gems for the gear you get that happens to have sockets, so you can actually manipulate the stats of your gear with gems, just like in Diablo. And then you got your basic merchants, which you can just buy gear from, and tomes. You can actually buy tomes from merchants. I wouldn't really recommend doing that because it's just a waste of gold for the most part. Unless you're having a hard time getting a certain tome to drop, then I would just go ahead and spend the gold. But other than that, I would just wait. There are different gear tiers of gear as well. You got your blue, well, you got your white, which is just gives you basic stats and nothing special. You got your blue, which gives you some extra secondary stats, and then your yellow, which gives you more secondary stats, and they probably have a higher chance of coming with sockets as well. And then the other thing I'm going to show you guys is this, I believe it's called knowledge, but any tomes you get that you aren't necessarily going to use, you can actually bring to this archivist, and you can turn them in for knowledge, and that's what you use to level up your talent or your abilities so that you can gain access to talents. So that's another nice progression feature of the game. And like I said, the game does look very nice graphically. It's just very pleasing to look at, in my opinion. I'm unfortunately running it on low because, you know, my laptop is going on like 5 years old. However, I did just get done ordering a desktop, which will probably be here, I'd say around the end of next week. So I will no longer be forced to have to run games like this on low settings, which will be super nice. I'm ultra excited for that. But I think that's pretty much all I have to show you guys. I am going to do the daily dungeon just to show you guys what the gameplay is like. And I am basically my character is an assassin. So my character is very much focused on dodge and things like that. The combat out of this game actually is pretty solid for the most part though. I've been enjoying it quite a bit. Although my character is a little bit overpowered and I can actually just kind of tank stuff, even though I'm an assassin type character, just because I can dodge so much. So I don't really, it's rare that I actually have to worry about using my dodge roll. So mostly actually just use my dodge roll to get around the map a little bit quicker. The other thing about the daily dungeon is there is a leaderboard, which is just based on who finishes it the quickest. So that's pretty cool in my opinion. Gives a nice competitive aspect to the game between players. You do get lots of loots in this game, which is also pretty satisfying, as you saw from the chest I just opened. That gave me a ton of loots. That's an interesting belt. It's about the same ring I have. Yeah, didn't get any kind of an upgrade. But yeah, unfortunately there really isn't any end-game goal yet, just because the game is in early alpha. So it's still very much in development, but I feel like this game will do really well if they approach it the right way. There we go. And the more difficult enemies are well distinct compared to the normal ones, like these. By having a glow or something along those lines. And like I said, as you can see, I'm just tanking the stuff because my dodge is so high. I imagine as the game progresses, they'll probably tweak talents and certain builds so that they aren't as overpowered, basically. So I'm sure that'll be a thing that ends up happening in the future. Okay. Just like any other dungeon crawler, you obviously want to pick up the better tiers of loot, because they give you more monies. And unfortunately, because the story isn't actually finished, this is pretty much what I'm gonna have to do to actually get to the current max level, which is 20. Is I'm just gonna have to do the daily dungeon repeatedly. Mark that guy. This is the other problem. I've actually run into this a few different times and in a few different instances where the terrain isn't very well defined. So I've actually had enemies and items get stuck in terrain that I can't actually travel to in any sort of way, so I just end up either not being able to kill certain mobs, which sucks, or I lose out on loot, which also sucks. Okay, doody-doo. Okay, I got all the gear from that. And if you're wondering why some of these monsters are just sort of exploding, it's because I'm overkilling them. Which is another nice feature of the combat, is that you can actually overkill enemies, which is essentially just a one-shot kill. I'm not entirely sure how it works. I believe it's a percentage-based thing that happens. Just a percentage-based trigger, which I believe can be affected by your character talents and possibly items, but I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, for like 20 to 25 bucks, I figured, you know, why not check it out and see what it's like. Like I said, I feel like this game does have a lot of promise to it, so long as the developers stay focused and stay on the right track with it. Doody-doo. Okay, whoa. Took a lot of damages that time. Mark this guy. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. There we go. Apparently my mark can actually spread to targets after I kill a specific target, so that's pretty cool. Doody-doo, kill all these zombies. Or undead, I should say. They're not even zombies. Got a potion, got another tome, got a ring. That's what I mean with the stuff getting stuck in terrain. Like that undead that was glitched right here. That happens like all the time. Okay, ran out of room already. That was quick. Doo-doo-doo. So, let's see. I don't think I got anything that'll be of use. Dodge and critical. Nope. It's actually worse than what I have. Willpower I don't need. Doody-doo. Yeah, I don't think I got any kind of upgrade. It doesn't look like. Do-do-do-do. Nah. Nah, Ming. And that's the daily dungeon. So, apparently the fastest person that's done it is 23 minutes. I just did it in 9, but I don't know if the daily dungeons get more difficult the higher level you are, how that works specifically. It might just be a fact of my personal character being incredibly overpowered, which is a possibility considering the state the game's in at the moment, which is a very early alpha, which is why there's like just basic terrain glitches and things like that going on. But yeah, I would definitely recommend this game if you guys are interested in dungeon crawlers or like the dungeon crawler genre in general. Like I said, I believe it's $20 or $25, and even though the game is in early alpha, if you buy it now, you'll still own the game once the game goes into beta state and after the game is fully released. So that's a nice, super nice thing the company that's driving this game decided to do. It's just a one-time purchase and you're good to go. They aren't gonna make you purchase it a second or third time every time the state of the game changes, so that's super nice. And there is a lot of promising content to go with this game. Everything from the character creator to the character talents and abilities, and then the ability talents and the story, the daily dungeon for that competitive aspect, and then I feel the loot system is also pretty well defined already for it being a early alpha game. And you even have these bounties you can do, which is essentially the sort of the gist that I got from the bounties is it's just like an endless dungeon sort of thing where you can just keep going and going and going until you run out of inventory space like I did. Speaking of which, I'm actually going to do that. So, sell all this stuff. No, I don't need that. It's very easy to make gold right now as well. So I don't know if they plan on changing that in the future or not. I'm sure they probably will. Just so people aren't instantly getting like tens of thousands of gold like I have. Because I believe the total playtime I have on this game is about 12-ish hours. So I really haven't played it very long at all. But I'm sure as the game progresses out of alpha, they'll make it a little more challenging and hopefully not grindy, just have the progression be a little more drawn out, so to speak. So, You never want to sell your tomes to just a normal vendor, because using your tomes to get that knowledge is much more beneficial than using them to get gold. They only give 70 gold anyway per tome, so it really isn't worth it to sell them to begin with. Especially considering the amount of willpower you get per tome is like 10k, which is actually quite a bit. So there we go, I have about 43,000 gold. I'm just gonna check here. I don't think there's anything that would benefit me from the vendor. Nope, doesn't look like it. Yeah, it's just on normal potions. So now I'm gonna go to the archivist. Give me some knowledges. I have over 100k knowledges, so I can actually level this up a few times. Like that. And then have 4 levels till my next talent for this ability. So, and then the other thing that I actually almost forgot to mention was you do have a chest. So you don't have to worry about somehow micromanaging all of your gear and just this grid here. You actually do have a chest with different tabs that you can unlock for various different amounts of gold. Up to 5 currently, it looks like. But I'm sure you'll probably be able to get items and things like that to increase the amount of tabs your chest has. So, or just get an entirely different chest, I don't know. So, and you do have quite a bit of space in your chest, so if you were using a character that had various different builds, you could actually store all of your gear in your chest pretty comfortably, along with gems and, well, I haven't found anything other than gear and gems that I would want to store in my chest yet, so I don't know if that'll change or not, if they decide to add different unique items to the game or what. I'm sure they will, just because the game is in such a early state. I may go ahead and do just a short little video showing you guys what the just showing you guys what the character creator is like, if you guys would like that. But other than that, that'll do it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, feel free to poke the like button, sub if you're new, share the video, and don't forget to follow me on Twitter, because I do post updates and whatnot and silly stuff on Twitter that's usually entertaining, or at least attention grabbing. Yeah, I think that's the right way to put it. Also, make sure to poke the notification bell, that way you will be notified every time I upload a new video. I hope you guys have a amazing weekend, as I'm sure you guys will, after a long week of work. And I will see you guys in the next one. Later.